Hello, my name is Erin Flanagan, and I'm the author of the novel Deer Season. I am very excited to be part of the Ohioana Book Festival this year, and thought I would read to you the opening chapter in hopes that you might want to check out the book. This is a novel that takes place in 1985 in a rural town in Nebraska. And I wanted to give a little warning that I do use a slur in the opening chapter for a mentally challenged person. And this would have been common language back in the 80s, but I wanted to let you know just in case. So, chapter 1. Alma held the 4-year-old pig against her left hip and pinned him to her side with an elbow. With her right hand, she held his ear across his eye as Clyle positioned the syringe perpendicular to the flesh and injected the antibiotics into the piglet's neck. The pig squealed and Alma's grip wobbled as Clyle caught the pig by his 2 back legs, swooped him into the air, and streaked his back with a green paint stick. On the ground, the pig scuttered his hooves against the cement before gaining traction and taking off across the small pen to the rest of the litter. This wasn't how Alma wanted to spend a Saturday afternoon. This wasn't how anyone wanted to spend a Saturday afternoon, but Hal had left Friday with some yahoos to go hunting the first weekend of deer season. She secured another pig across her knee as Clyle gave the shot, marked the piglet with the paint stick, then moved her to the floor. There were 2 left unmarked, congregated by the far slatted wall. Clyle grabbed the plywood panel he used to divert the pigs, moving it right to left until one of the piglets was trapped, then reached down and picked him up by the back legs. Hard to believe Clyle did this every week, the physical labor of it, the monotony and noise, but Alma had long accepted her husband was a better and more patient human being than she was. A year ago she'd started menopause, and her doctor had told her it could go on for up to a decade. A grin on his bland face as if to say, "How about that?" She didn't remember how long the change had lasted for her mother, but a year in, she and Clyle were already tested by the changes. He had told her early in their marriage that she was a woman who could ill afford a bad mood, given her natural disposition. Clyle passed the next pig to Alma, a big one at 16 pounds, and she got him into position, covered his eye with his ear, and rubbed the tip of his snout to calm him down. It could always be worse, she tried to remind herself. It could be not just 4-week shots, but castration day, a job she swore she'd never do again after they hired Hal. Hal had worked on the farm for nearly a decade now, but this was the first time he'd gotten his deer permit, and Alma was nervous as a long-tailed cat about him going off with his buddies. Thursday, when he told Alma about the hunting invitation, unease had set in. She hadn't understood why Larry Burke and Sam Gary wanted Hal with them on the hunting trip to Valentine in the first place. She enjoyed Hal's company, sure enough, but she wasn't 28 and pumped up on firearms and testosterone. Thursday night, she'd called Larry's wife to get the scoop. It turned out Larry's cousin had to make an emergency trip out of town and couldn't stand the thought of his deer season sitting empty the first weekend of the season, so he invited Larry down. "You tell them to keep it in line with Hal there," Alma said, and she'd imagined Cheryl and Larry having a good laugh about that later, about Alma Costigan calling to keep tabs on the retard. Oh, she definitely did not see the best in people. Clyle was right. Clyle wiped his forehead. "One left," he said, as if she couldn't count. "You ready?" "I'm standing here, aren't I?" she snapped. She had to shout over the hogs, squealing, the middle-on-middle clang as the older pigs knocked up the feed bins with their snouts. When she moved from Chicago to Nebraska, Alma had thought the silence would be deafening, but that was hard to remember at a pen of squealing livestock. She picked up the last unmarked piglet and held down his ear. Clyle stuck the tough skin and pushed the plunger home as the animal let out a blood-curdling squeal. He marked the back and Alma dropped the wiggling animal to the ground, where he bucked his tiny body twice before blending in with the rest of the litter. She shook out her sore arms. She'd be covered in bruises by morning. Clyle stuck the paint stick in the pocket of his Carhartt jacket and gathered the empty syringes. "Bet you'll be glad to get Hal back on Monday." Alma snorted. "He's going to get an earful." The last thing she said before he drove away was, "You call me collect every day, Hal, you hear? I don't care about the charges." She'd written down their phone number for him, knowing he didn't have it memorized, and tucked it in his hand. Yet here it was, Saturday, and she hadn't heard word one. Surely there was a payphone nearby in Valentine, so why hadn't he called? "I'm sure he just got busy," Clyle said, as if she'd asked the question out loud. "Too much beer last night and an early morning in the stand." Alma supposed he was right, but still, it needled her. She took another look around the pen and counted the green lines on the pig's back, double-checking they'd vaccinated them all. Already, these pigs were growing out of their cuteness, the jowls filling in, the nostrils and the snouts widening, the teacup cuteness of piglets fading by week 4. Earlier in the week, Hal had docked 2 tails because their littermates had tried to bite them off. The older they got, the uglier, she thought, the smarter and meaner as well. Kyle bent over and scratched one of the pigs behind the ear, and the rest came running, nosing at his hand like a pack of dogs, hoping for his affection. Still cuter than the devil, he said, and she wondered how it was 2 people could see things so differently. Maybe, she conceded, but just you wait. Thank you.